The WCA home has private rooms for seniors who need assisted living. We are a nonprofit home founded 125 years ago for women, now seeking approval for men. Our mission has always been top-notch assisted living. Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Funding is provided by a grant from New York State Senator Catherine M. Young, representing Western New York's 57th District, with a local office in Olean. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Doc Hamels, and welcome to Chautauqua Sunrise. To my good friends in Jamestown, good afternoon. Tuesdays at 1 o'clock on WRFA 107.9, low power to the people. Glad you could join us and you could be listening in. We've got a great show in store for you, as always, and I hope that you're going to stick around and listen. And of course, if you have to do something, remember that we're also on at 2 and 8 o'clock every day here at Access Chautauqua. And in case you want to tell your friends where we are there on the radio, we're at 1301 now, not 5 anymore on Spectrum. So that's been a change. I want to mention that from time to time. All right, so I hope you're having a great week, and for those that are visiting here, Chautauqua Institution, anywhere in Chautauqua County, welcome to Chautauqua County. This is one of our things that I like to focus on this a lot. I think Chautauqua County is just a great place to be, and when I grew up in Buffalo, I always felt like I was not in the right place. I don't know how to explain it. I kept thinking to my parents and saying to my parents and thinking about telling my parents, do you think maybe I was dropped off at the wrong house? Because I always wanted to be where nature was, trees, running water, fish, birds, whatever. And really, when you live in the city, it's pretty limited. So I was always going out into the parks and climbing trees and being involved with Boy Scouts and that sort of thing. And Chautauqua County has all of that, and it's just a great place to be. And it's just phenomenal. And if you look at the situations in other states right now, weather-wise, looking pretty good here. Okay. I know we got rain right now, but we really needed the rain. And I know that the farmers and those that are in the agricultural business really appreciate the rain that we're getting right now. But it's going to clear off, and it's just part of what we do here. If we could have the ability to change it to Camelot, it would only rain at midnight till 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that every night. But we do what we have to do when it does rain, and there's lots of activities indoors here in Chautauqua County, and there are things you can do outdoors, obviously, all the time here. All right, with the weather being what it is, I don't know how your dogs are if you have a dog. or perhaps a cat, I don't know if they do this. But for the last 2 nights, I'm sleeping, and then I hear this kind of like burrowing sound, like something's digging underneath me. And of course, you saw Max in the opening credits there. For some reason, he's a big old dog, and he's totally afraid of rain and thunder and lightning. So as soon as it starts, like 10 minutes before I even know it's going to rain, he's under the bed. Well, you haven't lived till you get up at 6:30 in the morning. And all you see is 2 paws sticking out under the bed, and then he gets stuck under, and he goes, "Oh, I can't get out." So I got to go under, and I got to rotate him and pull him out. It's like pulling a calf. So that's how my morning starts when it rains and thunders and lightnings around here. But he's a great guy, and if you have a pet, I'm sure some of them probably run into the closet or go under whatever, and they have those special jackets, thunder jackets or something they wrap the dogs in, so animals. But that's Mother Nature for you. Okay, I have some community events to talk to you about, and I want to remind you, okay, that this show is live, that we encourage you to call in if you have an announcement, and you can give us a call at 753-5225. You can email us, you can Twitter us. They're going to pop up that information here. There it comes magically. This is like a magic show. You can email us, because we want to know what's going on in your part of Chautauqua County, because that's what this show is all about, is what's cool and what's good going on here in the county. And we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. You can see the show on YouTube as well, and share it along the way. All right, so here are a few things that are going on. Now, you don't always know this, other than the fact that I talk a lot in the beginning of the show sometimes, but today I only have 2 sides of a paper for announcements, so we're running low. I need more announcements. Some days, Chris gives me as many as 11 sides. 11 different sides to read. So we're going to start out right off the bat with my good friends over at Infinity. They still have, I want to make sure this is still current, right. Okay, spend your summer exploring the arts. The Infinity has a fun-filled lineup of various things going on this summer, but they're down to the last week, and we talked about this last week. They have what they call their World Tour Camp, all right? And that's from August 20th to the 24th. And if you're interested, this is for kiddos from 6 to 12 years old at all skill levels. Give them a call at 664-0991. And you also can go to their website, and this is all one word, infinityperformingarts.org, and or give them a call at 664-0991. The day camp, I believe it's like 9 to 3, that type of thing, and they have activities for the kids. And boy, I tell you, I've been involved with these guys for some time now, and what they do with the arts, music, theater, graphic arts, and so forth, it's just phenomenal. And these kids get a real jump start in their lives as far as their interest levels, and it's not for babysitting. This is really to explore their own interest in the arts and so forth. So check them out. They're August day camps. All right, and speaking of Infinity, we're going to continue on here. Let's pop up that slide. This is the 15th Annual Local Music Showcase. Isn't that a great poster? A friend of mine, he stays in touch with me down south, and he said, well, is this like your 5th or 6th local music showcase you're going to be performing for? And I had to look it up. This is going to be my 8th year. I know it seems hard to believe. I started out in 2011 from what I could tell. So let me read what it says here. It's time once again to fill downtown Jamestown with a night full of music, all for an excellent cause. Now in its 15th year, so it's been going a long time, Infinity's annual local music showcase has become a staple event in downtown each and every fall. More than 40 local musicians have volunteered to perform throughout, I believe now it's down to 8 downtown Jamestown venues on September 8th, okay? And the venues are including Brazil Craft Beer and Wine Lounge, Forte, Labyrinth Press Company, Shawbucks, Tarmac Cafe, the Chautauqua Club, the Pub, the Wine Cellar, and I believe Infinity is also there too. I think they're having them right there at Infinity. Infinity's grants and marketing coordinator, Stephanie Rogers, has been organizing the local music showcase event for the past 9 years and says, quote, "This night is truly a testament to the level of support that our community has for what's going on at Infinity. It's amazing to see local businesses, musicians, and community members come together in a show of support, not just for our incredibly talented local music scene, but for the future of the vibrant art scene in Jamestown's music scene that's currently being nurtured at the Infinity Center. It takes more than 200 volunteers annually to make the local music showcase possible, and Infinity is currently seeking approximately, now if you're interested, you don't have to be a musician, they're looking for 60 volunteers to check wristbands at venue doors and assist patrons with locating ticketing kiosks on the evening of the event. All volunteer positions are approximately 2 hours long, and participants will receive an all-access event wristband in exchange for their time, which means you can go from venue to venue for nothing throughout the evening. If you're interested in supporting Infinity by volunteering your time during this event, please email Stephanie Rogers at lms@infinityperforming.infinity. Let me say that again. lms@infinityperformingarts.org, or go on to their website, and then you'll find it there. It's a long one. I'm not going to even read it. Infinity is a music and arts education and performing arts center that offers private lessons, group classes, and an array of arts experiences, performance opportunities with 5 pillars, including arts, music, art, dance, theater, and literature. Infinity offers something for all ages and experience levels. Join us and explore, experience, and excel in the arts. Now, let me just interject here a sad note. Many of you know that Aretha Franklin passed away recently, and I was watching Smokey Robinson talking about his connection with Aretha over the years, and she started out at 5 years old. Imagine if somebody hadn't realized her talent at a young age, what a loss it would have been to this world, and we would never heard her voice. Fortunately, she was in church choirs and so forth, and she had that ability to go through that channel, but not everybody does. So Infinity provides that opportunity for young folks, variety of ages, to explore their talents and their passion, and they can be heard, they can be seen, and they can be enjoyed for many years to come. So guys like me, we get together and we play for about an hour. I'll be down at the pub at 7:15, and Will and myself, and then there's, like they say, about 40 different acts throughout the evening. Starts at 6 o'clock and goes to 2 p.m. into the wee hours of the night. So anyways, check that out, September 8th. All right, this is a last day announcement for this event. Ripley, New York, the Ripley Library has its annual book sale going on right this minute, and this is kind of interesting. They give you a bag, and for $2, you fill the bag and you take home the books. I was by there yesterday, and they have hundreds and hundreds of books. You name the category, they've got it, and for some nice summer reading, for $2, you can stock up. And there's kids' books there too, and videos. All right, let's go to Mayville. All right, I mentioned earlier there's always something going on here in the county, and a lot of it is music in the park, in various places. Farmers markets have music and so forth, and all the activities associated with those events. But this is a special one. This is our friends right here down the road, the Mayville Entertainment in the Park series. Okay, they started it already, but we're going to jump in here at the 23rd of August. So let's do the beginning part here. The Chamber of Commerce of Mayville, Chautauqua, continues its 2018 Entertainment in the Park Summer Concert Series, and on the 23rd, they're featuring The Lake Effect. It's an a cappella group, along with Rainbow the Clown. And then on the 30th of August, now I've heard very good reviews on this, Comeback Patsy Cline Tribute by Pat Cook. Okay, someone I just talked to said that this is a fabulous presentation of Patsy Cline's work and show, so do check that out. The concerts are provided free of charge through the generous sponsorship by the town of Chautauqua and Village of Mayville. All performances are at the gazebo just down the road at the Lakeside Park, located on 394 on the shores of beautiful Lake Chautauqua in Mayville. It starts at 6:30 and goes to 8:30. In case of inclement weather, like it was yesterday, the concerts will be held in the Carlson Community Center also located at Lakeside Park. Those attending should bring their own seating for the performance. I remember as a kid we used to see the Buffalo Philharmonic, and we would bring blankets and chairs and things like that, and that was a good memory. For more information, give them a call at the Chamber at 753-3113. And as another note, right now over in Westfield, you got the Westfield Farmers Market and Artisans Market. I guess it's a combination of farmers products and artisans, and they have music and they have all kinds of stuff going on there. I played there last week, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. Friendly people and lots of vendors there. It's one of the largest farmers market in the area. Lots of produce too, and the Amish have their baked goods and so on. Okay, here's a question for you. Would you pay $900 for a drink, Justin? Nope. No. How to Avoid a DWI is the title of a program by Kathleen Storns, who is an impaired driver program director. Now, this is something to think about. Maybe you have somebody that you know that might appreciate going to this program because they might need to have a wake-up call. September 18th from 1:30 to 4:30 at the Lakewood Baptist Church at 150 Erie Street in Lakewood. Registration's $40, but think about it. If this could change somebody's attitude about drinking and driving. Most people don't think that they will ever be arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol or some other drug. Unfortunately, many people don't realize they are impaired while driving. Participants will gain an understanding of the consequences of being arrested for drinking and driving. Many times those who have been arrested say, "I wish I knew all of this before it happened." So this is a prevention program. During this training, they'll have a discussion on standard drinks. They'll cover factors that influence a person's blood alcohol level, your tolerance level, and how it affects your driving. How an arrest impacts others and alternatives to drinking and using and driving. The New York State laws, social and emotional issues, long-term implications will be discussed, and what a drink really costs in both financial and social realms. It's a 3-hour program, and CASIC is providing the training. You know, I've known individuals that unfortunately didn't pay heed to this and got stopped, DWI, and it costs a lot of money because you lose your license, you get fines, you got to go to school, and just the wear and tear on you is really difficult. So you're going to drink? Fine, no problem. Get a designated driver, or don't leave till you're sober. All right? So a couple of other quick things to mention, and these are two sad notes. We talked about Aretha Franklin. Gentleman that many people knew here in Mayville, Ernie Cowan. He was the gentleman that headed up the Sea Lion Project. It was his vision and so forth. I saw just passed away, so our condolences to the family of the Cowans. And on a very sad note, the wife of a good friend here at the station, Mike Felsman, his wife Linda Felsman passed away recently, and our condolences go out to Mike and his family. Mike calls in from time to time and has been a great supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. So with that, we're going to take a breather here, and this is for you, and we'll be right back.
My new mom and I have a lot in common.
The great outside.
We both love the outdoors.
So shiny.
That's not a flower. We both love geology.
Oh, look. An igneous one.
That's not a rock. And she knows a lot about wildlife.
A labradoodle.
That's not a dog. Hanging out has been kind of fun.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Okay, we're back. I'm talking to my guests, and we're having the last minute discussion here about how we're going to do things. Okay, so I'm going to introduce this right now. So imagine for a moment you've got a small band of folks, not a very large group, of people who want to do good in the world, and somewhere along the line there's a mystery organization or person that challenges them to do something, and that's what this show's all going to be about, is a great project. There's mystery and suspense in it, and it's going to be doing good in the world. I want to welcome a friend of mine and former colleague and administrator, Jim Wakeman. Good morning, Jim.
Well, good morning, Doc. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, you're very welcome. Jim, we both are in Rotary, and we both worked at Ripley Central School together, so we have some history. But today we're going to talk about something really fun and something very interesting, and at the same time very sobering because of the project. But that's my teaser. All right, we're not going to talk about that quite yet. But I asked you to come on the show because I think the project that you headed up was really significant, and there's a story behind it. But there's always a story behind the story behind the story. So let's start with the first story. And who's Jim Wakeman? Tell us all about yourself, because I think you've got a great story.
Well, Doc, I'm from upstate New York, near Syracuse, raised in a small town of Jordan. Graduated from Jordan Elbridge High School a couple of years ago. And over half a century. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But went off to college at Gannon here in Erie, PA, nearby, for a short, unsuccessful attempt at college.
This happens.
Well, it sure did to me. And soon I was in the Coast Guard for 4 years, and I was stationed out in California. A beautiful spot, sat at a desk out there for 4 years.
Sounds like tough duty.
Oh, it was great duty. After I got out of the military, I stayed in California and went to school on a GI Bill, and stayed there for 18 years, approximately.
Wow.
Though I went to college for education, eventually I became an engineer on the railroad in Southern Pacific.
Wait a minute, the guy goes,
yeah,
pulls
absolutely.
the...
Yep, running the trains.
Oh my gosh, you're like, that's like a childhood dream. All kids want to be an engineer.
Awful lot of fun. I've thoroughly enjoyed that. Running the trains in California, sometimes over the Sierra Nevadas to Reno.
Oh, wow.
But when you're an engineer on the railroad, you spend about 1/3 of your time sitting in a hotel room someplace, going out of town. Now, 1/3 of a 30-year career is 10 years of sitting in a motel room. And as much fun as the trains were, hard work, but a lot of fun. For my family and for myself, got out of that, moved back to the Erie, Pennsylvania area, and went into education. Soon was at Ripley, and there I was a teacher and then an administrator, principal, director of special ed. Retired in 2007, and I worked probably the first 6 or 7 years when I was retired, different things, including one of my most favorite jobs was I was a advocate for kids for ARC of Erie County.
That's the Association for Retarded Children?
It was at one time. It's Advocacy and Resources for Citizens with
Oh, they changed it
Disabilities.
up. Okay,
Yes,
because
they
I
did.
remember ARC was the old acronym for that. Okay.
Yep. And in that job, I got to go in and sit on the other side of the table from people like me and help people get good programs for their kids in the schools primarily.
So you went from Coast Guard guy to engineer to teacher?
Yes, I did. Yep. And each supported the others. There's things you draw from each thing you do going through your life. And now for probably the last 4 years, primarily doing a lot of service work.
Okay. You know, see if this is how you feel. I feel very fortunate in the fact that I was able to retire at a relatively young age. But over the years when I was in education, I got a lot of skills, I got a lot of training, I got a lot of experience doing things with people. And then when you retire, you have all this experience and nowhere to go. And so then you try to take it and give it back. Do you feel that way?
Well, nature hates a vacuum, and things are going to fill your time. I thought when I retired I was going to go play. And I did a few things that I thought, boy, I can't wait to do this again. And after I did it, I said, you know, I really don't enjoy it that much.
Like what?
I said, I'm going to go fishing. I'm probably going to go fishing every day.
Every day?
Every day.
Get your hands all smelly?
Yep. I went fishing a couple days, and it was fun, but I didn't really want to go fishing. The old car that I worked on for 18 years,
oh
my goodness.
Was that an international?
It became a burden. And I just sort of gravitated to things that were just a little more valuable in life, things that gave me a little bit more appreciation at this time of my life. The service work and work at ARC again was very rewarding to me.
Good for you, and good for those that you've served. So, Jim, I mentioned that we're both in Rotary. How did you get involved with Rotary? I don't remember.
Spousal influence.
Spousal influence.
My wife, Sue Hammond, was also worked at Ripley as a teacher and then as an administrator, became involved in Rotary. And I started hearing about some of the things. She asked me if I might be interested in meeting with, I think it was Don Dowling, and I can't remember who else at this time, perhaps Mort Flexer.
Could very well have been.
I think it may have been. And I met and started going, and it was one of those things that it just felt right.
Did you know Mort Flexer was associated with the studio for like 18 years?
I believe that many years ago when you and I were on the Reed Powers show, that he was still doing his show.
The geezer. He was. He used to sit over on this side of Reed and come on, and he used to answer the phones and things like that. So he was just a great gentleman. Okay, so somehow or another you got involved with Rotary through your wife and just being associated with activities there. So how long have you been in Rotary?
I think it's been, this will be my 10th year.
Is it really? So you pretty much right out of from retirement forward, you were in.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So as I told you before, I'm not going to give the answers. I'm going to ask the questions. So what's the elevator speech? What is Rotary in your experience? What would you share with the viewers and listeners?
What is Rotary? It's about 1,200,000 people that the motto of the Rotary Foundation is doing good in the world. They do good in the world, and that's here in Chautauqua County and throughout the world. Service projects, maternal and child health, education, promoting peace, building a better future for the world.
Can't have enough of that lately, I've noticed.
Oh my goodness. There's no shortage of negativity in this world. Goodness. We're trying to add a little positive.
Absolutely. So Rotary is throughout the world, as I recall. And here in Chautauqua County, I think there's 5 clubs. There's, let's see if we can go through them. There's Jamestown has 2. There's one in Faulkner. Fredonia. And then Westfield Mayville. That's our home club. Okay, and I believe that clubs are in a district. So how about talk about district? What does that mean?
Well, our district is District 7090, and it goes up to, I believe, Leroy, New York, approximately.
Way over there.
And to Olean, and then up into Canada. So we call it, was it Friends and Neighbors?
Yeah.
And so we get to interact with the Canadians quite a bit. We're similar, but they also have their own specific perspectives on things and the way of doing things. But I think there's close to 70 clubs within the district.
So probably that would spell out a couple thousand Rotarians in the district. And so, Westfield, Mayville, Rotary, and the other 4 in Chautauqua County is part of this district. And do they work together on projects and things? Or?
We have worked on some projects together. We had some polio work that we did a few years ago with the Dunkirk Club and some of the other ones, selling some polio bracelets to raise some funds. And there was also part of an event over in Dunkirk on the pier to publicize the work that Rotary does around the world. So the clubs will interact in the district as a group. It sounds like it doesn't work. So with Rotary, a lot of people, they think some of these clubs are like secret clubs. It's not a secret club, is it? Or we are not we have no secrets.
No secrets. Okay.
Very open.
No secret handshakes or passwords.
None of that stuff. Just we're out in the public there, and no.
Okay. And where does Again, I'm asking you questions I already know the answers to, so I'm doing this for my listeners. So where does the club meet and all that good stuff?
We meet every Tuesday at 5 p.m. in the Parkview restaurant in Westfield.
Okay. And so can you give the folks just a general idea what goes on at a meeting or a dinner or whatever it is at Tuesdays at 5 o'clock? What happens?
It's a very engaging meeting, in my opinion. We do sit down and have a meal together, and that can be important. And there's a time for conversation. There will be some announcements, and we often have a guest come in to do some type of presentation, talk about things we are doing, what we need to do, organizational matters.
Okay, can anybody join Rotary?
Yes.
Okay. So if somebody was listening right now, how would they become a Rotarian?
Well, Pete Bills is our membership chair. I don't have his contact information at hand, but we could certainly have that. Perhaps
they can always contact me here, right?
Yeah, and express an interest. Come to a meeting.
Okay.
We would always welcome a guest.
There you go. Okay, super. Well, okay. So, and this is pretty much the same across clubs to clubs to clubs, right? I mean, I've been around different countries, and a lot of times I see, Rotary meets here, in different languages. So it's always pretty cool.
I think that there'd be a great deal of commonality among the clubs, but different clubs have their own little personalities. We went to, when my wife Sue Hammond and I went to Africa a few years ago, we visited 2 clubs. And one was engaging, open, having a good time. The other was strictly business.
Wow.
But engaging, friendly,
yeah,
but not
different feel,
not gregarious.
So what were you doing in Africa?
Oh, Sue and I went over there in 2010. It was a project to install water wells in villages in the country of Niger, near the capital city of Niamey. And wonderful trip of a lifetime. Before that, my entire international experience was one evening in Canada.
That was it?
That was it.
Oh,
so
this must have been a little bit of a shock to the system.
Oh my goodness. Niger is the poorest country in the world, #1. Very rough over there, but people are very engaging, warm. They're living their lives. They want to do good in their communities. But we went over there, and it was a project that Rotary supported and our club supported, where we would go into the villages of perhaps 300 to 400 people, put in a small hand-operated well.
Okay.
They don't have electricity once you get away from the capital city. They only have 2 cities in the country that I think are over 100,000 people. And this well would be placed within the village, because without that, it would be the job of young girls up to about 14 to gather water every day. And they might have to walk 3-4 more miles to carry water back from polluted wells. I mean, you wouldn't want to drink this water.
Okay.
And that would be their day. So we would put in the water, again, was difficult to obtain and unhealthy. So with these wells right in the middle of the village, the young ladies could gather it in a half hour.
So this really freed up their time to do other things.
What it freed up their time for was to go to school. They have about a 50,
first things first, take care of the family, then go to school.
Their job, they do encourage girls to go to school. They have about a 50% literacy rate, is my recollection. But just the way things work, the boys go more often and stay longer. Once the girls were freed up of this task, again, taking hours a day, they were welcome at school.
Wonderful. So, and this was all through a Rotary initiative?
Yes.
Okay. So, I kind of framed the discussion before we actually started talking about a band of folks, small group of folks that want to do good in the world with a certain mysterious benefactor involved. So, tell us about that.
Well, when opportunity knocks, you got to open the door. And in 2016, in the summer, Tom Burkhouse, our community service chair, got a letter from an area foundation indicating that they were interested in working with us to raise funds for polio eradication.
No, at this point, only a couple of you know who this is, right?
Right.
I don't even know who this foundation is.
They wish to remain anonymous.
Okay, so this is where the mystery comes in, because I'm still working on it. I'm trying. I have my investigative reporters working on this as we speak. Okay, so you got this letter of it. Somebody wants to remain anonymous, and to this day have remained anonymous.
Yes.
Okay. So what did the letter say?
Just that they were interested in working with the club on raising money to eradicate polio. Would you be interested in a meeting?
So specifically polio?
Yes.
Okay.
You bet.
So, all right, so let's stop there. So why polio and why Rotary? Because what's the background with Rotary and polio? We haven't talked about that yet.
Well, the background with Rotary is that since 1988, it's been the primary goal, activity of Rotary is eradication of polio.
Well, polio doesn't exist here hardly in the States, so what's the big deal?
Polio, that is something that many folks, thankfully, would think has been gone from the world because it's been gone for our country so long. But when we were kids, it was very still well established in this country. Our parents would have dreaded every summer because as late as 1955, I believe, there was 28,000 plus cases in the United States.
28,000 here in the United States?
And so the odds would be, and it was, my recollection, it was, they identified it as a summer thing, maybe because of kids congregating, pools and things.
Sure. Easy to spread.
In an area of the size of Chautauqua County, the odds were that a couple of kids were going to get it every summer. Some would die, some would be crippled for life. Others would have a, easy for us to say, a mild version of it. And we know folks, Doc,
yes, we do.
that
I've met 3
live
people.
their life, and you may not know, but they'll have a late recurrence of the disease when they're in their 50s and 60s. And I've talked to one person that had gone on to be a competitive figure skater, very active, but now when she gets up in the morning, she's got to recalibrate, learn how to get up again in the morning, so many years later.
So this is a debilitating disease.
Yep, awful. Perhaps the most famous polio survivor was FDR, Franklin Roosevelt. Got it later than most. It's usually a childhood disease. Out sailing one day, ran home feeling good, felt a little bit bad after supper, went up to bed, and never took an unaided step in his life again.
Oh my gosh, just hit him just like that.
No cure.
Wow. Okay, but there's good news, right?
There is good news.
So tell us the story now. So in 1988, Rotary, for whatever reason, says they're going to focus on this. So what do they do?
Well, the evolution was back in the mid-50s. First there was the Salk vaccine.
Oh, we all got those.
We got the shot. And then there was the oral vaccine that Sabin produced. And then a doctor in Canada, Leon Farrell, in the later 50s, learned how to mass produce it. And the oral vaccine is a big deal in that Rotary has inoculated, what was it? I've got the number, almost 3 billion children.
Wait a minute. What?
Almost 3 billion children.
3 billion?
Through the efforts of Rotary and others.
How many people are in the world?
Well, there's about 6 billion now.
So wow, 3
and
billion.
Just the logistics of it. If we were transporting and had to have syringes and giving shots, very difficult. But now, one drop of a polio vaccine in a child, and they are protected for life.
We were talking before the show that we recalled the sheer terror of lining up at school. Because I couldn't remember where I got my shot. Then I remember we all lined up, rolled up your sleeve if I remember right. They put alcohol dab and bang, next, bang. And it was like the Army. And then, of course, when we had our own children, we had to take them to get their shots. And there's the little child, and you're holding on, and they're just, oh, everything's life. And then the look and dread over their face and the tears coming down their shots. So I was like, but you say now it's just, how do they put in the mouth?
One drop. And it's very effective. In the 1970s, again, in the 50s, there was 28,000 cases. In the 70s, it was down to 10 cases in this country.
10, that's it?
And by 79, it was
there you go.
Eradicated from this country.
All right, here's a picture for those who are listening on the radio.
That's a child probably on a National Immunization Day, which we could talk about. That one drop, and
so it looks like a for eye drops almost, like that kind of a plastic bottle. Just open your mouth, drop it in there, and that's it. So who gives them the medicine? I mean, are these doctors or?
No, it doesn't have to be doctors. It could be you and I. We could go on a national.
As long as we were trained to do it.
Yep, and these people are working throughout the world. It's down to 3 countries right now.
Okay, but before that, how many cases were there in the world? Do you know?
About 350,000 would be a
350,000 kids back in what, the 80s?
1988, 350,000 per year, and since then there's been a 99% decrease. We'll see a slide probably in a little bit that we're this close, and through August of this year, 2018, through August,
here you go.
There's Bill Gates, who we will mention a little bit later on. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has been very generous in this effort, tremendously. but I derailed my train of thought there for a second. Through August of 2018, 14 cases in the world. So again, going from...
Wait a minute, wait. 14 cases in the whole world?
In the entire world.
Down from 350,000 a year?
Mm-hmm. But it is hard. It's like running a marathon. Mm-hmm. That last 100 yards may be as difficult as that first 25 plus miles. We're going to get there, but it's going to take a good concerted effort over the next few years until the world is free of polio.
Okay, so that's the background to the story that we're going to talk about now. Mm-hmm. So let's roll the tape forward now. So this letter that says they want to work with you about polio, wherever they are.
Yes.
And you've yet to tell me, no matter how I've tried to ask you. All right. Okay, so then what happened next?
Well, Tom Burkhouse and I went to a meeting with a representative, one of the founders of this foundation.
So there's more than one person. I'm getting there.
There is a foundation.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. There is a foundation. We met with this person. They had some familiarity with Rotary, with our Rotary Club. Mm-hmm. Had been around the world, and I think, didn't say this, but had seen the ravages of polio. Yeah. And said, would you be interested in $5,000 to $10,000 in matching funds? It put some conditions. It'd have to be all new money. Couldn't draw from your budget. It couldn't be that this year our Gold Rusher auction will be dedicated to polio.
So separate. Everything's separate.
New. Not soliciting or accepting large donations from folks for this. That it was served to energize the club. And also that every one of the activities that we would do for a fundraiser would have an educational component.
Now, how large is the club?
Our club? I believe we're just shy of 30 members right now.
All right, so we're talking about 30 people that have now been given this challenge of, it's almost like putting a carrot in front of you, saying, here's $10,000, you want to match it? You know, so that's basically what it was?
The person mentioned $5,000 to $10,000. Of course, being impulsive, I said, well, I'm going to work on $10,000 because, I just blurted it out. I'm going to work on $10,000 because I know if I can do 10, I can do 5.
Right.
And in that meeting, it's just one of those, the work of others, I think, brought it home. We saw Bill Gates a few minutes ago.
Right.
The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation donated $350 million a year for a few years of matching 2-to-1 matching funds through Rotary International for funds donated to the Polio Plus Fund at Rotary International. And I just saw a speech by the foundation chair, might not be his title. There's another $100 million in the pipeline for the 2018-2019 club year. So I mentioned to this person at the meeting that every dollar, if once they matched it, would be matched 2-to-1 at the international level. And I think that helped seal the deal that they really wanted to go forward and do this.
Super.
So every dollar that we raised, after being raised locally and being 2-to-1 at the district international level, every dollar became 6.
Wow, that's quite the multiplier factor. Just as a total quick aside, a bunch of us here do the ride for Roswell, and I think they get matched like 4-to-1 or something like that. So we understand what that means. So every dollar really makes a big difference.
Absolutely, and every dollar does make a big difference. The polio vaccine is coming in at about 60 cents a dose right now.
That's hardly anything.
So if a dollar goes off through this project, it wouldn't be the same now because we're not getting the local match. If a dollar becomes 6 and you divide that by 0.60, that's 10 doses of polio for some 10 kids in the world for every dollar.
Okay, so back to the story. So we got the challenge, you have the figure of $10,000, and you got 30 people, and I would think it would be like the deer in the headlight from the people saying like, huh? I mean, $10,000 is quite a little bit of money to raise.
It is quite a bit of money. One of the conditions that we asked for was to do it in two years.
Okay.
1 year would have been tough because we're doing all our regular stuff at the club level, and I think that our budget would be about $10,000 a year. So to double it would be tough. So I took it to the board and the president, Mike Harrington at that time, and they endorsed it. And then I had to take it to the club. And so I'm at this meeting, I'm giving this presentation. They said, well, great, you can be the chairperson of the committee. I kind of wanted to, but so So I took it to the club members and gave a presentation, and I had to think, how are we going to bring this to the club? 10,000, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work. And fundraising, we kid and say the first 3 letters in fundraising spell fun, but it's hard. So what I said is, I use the example of Sisyphus pushing the rock up the hill.
Well, Sisyphus.
Yep, just about impossible. But if you were able to break that, and he did not have this option,
Right.
if you were able to break that rock up into 4 small pieces, maybe you could do it.
Okay.
So rather than thinking about raising $10,000, we said, let's raise $2,500
Okay, and that's not
4
too bad,
times.
yeah.
That we can do.
So what'd you do?
So what did we do? Well, we had our Polio Plus Challenge. And what we did is we had some fundraising events.
So what were those?
Well, we started out in November of 2016 with our Polio Plus Challenge, Pace Against Polio, which was...
I just happen to have a prop here.
Yep.
I was hoping you were going to mention it because I have a souvenir shirt. There it is.
Very good. And if you want a visual, we've got slide number 10.
Okay.
There would show that Adele Harrington was, I think, president right after Mike or right before? Right before, I think.
Right before.
She came on and organized a 5K walk run.
Right, and that's what this was all about.
Something we'd never done
Right.
as a club.
And I want to put another interjection there that Chautauqua Sunrise was a sponsor of that. So
and we certainly thank you for that.
So we were happy to do that. So Chris, can we have slide number 10 if you have it there? And we'll.
I've got no idea what his number is.
Okay. All right.
That's fine. And we netted over $1,900. So not quite the $2,500, but pretty close to $2,000. So we're about 20% on the way.
Okay. So far so good.
So far so good.
Okay. So now you still got about $8,000 to go.
Yes, we do.
So then what?
We had to time things. When you do fundraising in the club, you have to, for this, we had to time it. We couldn't have it too close to our big fall fundraiser. We couldn't have it too close to our big spring fundraiser. You have to have things that are, you have to account for the weather here when you do fundraising. So the next thing we did was just a raffle.
Okay.
I say just a raffle because it's pretty straightforward. You sell the tickets, you don't have to be
Give away a
outside.
prize and be done.
It's predictable. And Pete Bills stepped up and he chaired our Cash to Bash Polio raffle that we did. I think it was in January, no, it was about March of 2017.
Okay.
Raised, what, $1,218 on that one.
Okay.
So now we're moving along. We're up to about $3,200.
So about a third of the way. Yeah.
And we're about a third of the way.
All right. So that's okay. Oh, there it is. There's
There's Adele and Dan Smith, a Rotarian, and Bob from Alabama, who is now a Rotarian.
Oh,
he
cool.
was there that day helping out.
right. And unfortunately, we were sitting here in the studio, and I couldn't join you, but we do have our T-shirts.
Yeah, we got the T-shirts.
Okay, so that was 2 activities down, and you're a third of the way. So then, what was the next event?
You know, I might get the sequence a little
It
bit
doesn't
off,
matter.
but I want to make sure that we recognize everybody, though once you recognize anybody,
Yeah.
you always run the
Oh,
risk of forgetting
sure.
someone so important. So if I do, I'm sorry. It's my memory, not your contribution, if I missed it. Rotary supports Interact clubs. Interact clubs are high school students.
Okay.
And the Brockton Interact Club has been very active in the area. They donated $200. And their activity, let's see, theirs was Crazy Hat Day, I believe.
Okay.
And on their
Pretty easy to
morning
do.
announcements, they would include information about polio eradication and the efforts, and they donated $200.
Okay, great. And then you had another fundraiser for the club?
Yes, we did. We had a miniature golf tournament.
I have another prop. My team, which did not win the tournament, but it was, we had my daughter-in-law, she came up with Team Hamels. We had our own T-shirts for that day, you know.
Well, if we could show slide 17, you know, when you have a big tournament, you always hope that the stars will come out.
Well, it wasn't us.
So if we could
have
see
a-
slide
must be a-
17,
so it'll
perhaps?
it'll be a golfing scene. Okay, and then we'll pop that up.
You'll
so
see
where was it held?
It was held at, and we
Just
thank
down-
them. There it is.
There's Team Hamels.
Hamels.
Yeah, we came like
Looking very good there.
4th place or something like that.
It was a fun day.
Yeah, it was.
We held it over at Webb's Mini Golf. And they really were very accommodating. It was great. Very nice day. The weather held out for us. And I've heard that there are some clubs that don't do fundraising. They only support their goals, their fundraising goals, through dues and contributions. Okay. But there's something to be said about the camaraderie and working together on a project and being there.
And that was fun. And picture in there's my son Justin, his wife Brittany, and their daughter Kyla, my granddaughter. And we had fun, and it was so much fun with the other teams, and we had people outside of Rotary and people learning about what we do. So it was a great time. So that's 1, 2, 3, 3. So how much money did that raise?
That raised $2,431.
All right, so
Not
you're
bad.
more than halfway then.
We are getting there. There's a Rotaract club. Rotaract are young adults, 18 to, I believe, 35. And the Fredonia Rotaract Club at the college held a gala, and they had an ugly sweater for the better Christmas sweater event. And they raised a lot of money. They were interested in donating to Rotary, and they've been very generous with other beneficiaries through the years. But this is the first time that they donated to Rotary. And they gave us, I believe it was $1,300.
Wow.
Very big deal.
Yeah, that's
for
a good
the,
chunk.
Polio Plus.
So you're
challenge.
really on your way now. So
Now we're moving. Oh, also right in local here, Chautauqua Lake Interact Club, they had a penny war in the high school.
okay, those are always fun.
And again, educational components on the announcements, things like that. And they contributed about $934.
Yeah, significant.
So we're well on our way.
Okay.
But we had to finish it out because time was moving on. We had to get it done before, in my opinion.
Is
yes,
it
there's
the Penny Wars.
the
It's,
Chautauqua Lake group.
Yeah, super.
Yeah, that was very, very nice of them. One of the things that was important to us, and it wouldn't make sense arithmetically, but we wanted the $350 million per year that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation made available for the 2-to-1 match, we wanted to access that. Now, whether we access it or someone else does, the total amount raised is going to be the same, but it was meaningful to us, so we needed to get busy. So our last event, and I think we were about, let's see, about $1,000 or so short of our goal, was we had a pancake breakfast at Brockton Central.
Okay.
And that was a lot of fun. Luckily, we had someone that knew what they're doing in the kitchen. Patty Benton was the chairperson of that one. And we had a pancake breakfast. Again, educational material was there. The Brockton Interact Club, some of the students helped out with that, and the Rotarians. And we flipped pancakes, and we made $2,300.
Wow.
And we're over the top. So our grand total, and it is grand, $11,715.46.
There is from Brockton.
Has a young man coming in with a broken arm to help out.
That was the Brockton crew, and they're the Interact Club, right?
Yeah, those are Interact Club members there.
And what was that container he was holding there?
Oh, that was the Polio jug. That was a jug that we had at various events through the years, and specifically at our Polio Plus Challenge events that people could donate directly
Loose
to.
change, whatever.
Yeah,
okay,
loose
you
change,
pick up a
of
few
course.
bucks that way. Okay, so then you matched and exceeded, and then you got the money from the foundation?
We did. We sent our $11,715 into Rotary. There's Dave Travis.
Flipping pancakes?
Flipping pancakes, doing a good job there. And the local foundation soon sent in their $10,000.
Wow.
That was matched, with about $42,000 there at Rotary International, which became $60,000 plus. And the final, I think, yes, I'm going to get it right, 108,577 doses of polio vaccine were purchased through these efforts to go to the children of the world.
From the Westfield, Mayville Rotary Club, raised enough money for 108,000 doses of
108,577 doses. So, a small group
Amazing.
can do a big thing.
Amazing. Okay, you've got some slides here that maybe we could speak to because we only got like 4.5 minutes left. So Chris, do we have, I don't even know what order, let's just pop up pictures and we'll talk about it as we go along here.
Whatever comes up. If we could hit number 6 eventually, that'd be nice.
Oh my gosh.
This one is quite poignant. When Sue and I went to Africa, it was primarily for the water well project, but we also did some other things, and some of the other Rotarians along did some mosquito nettings and stuff. But here is a group of polio survivors in Niamey, Niger, Africa, and you can see their legs. There is no cure. There can be some therapy, but not much in the poorest country in the world. And the man that's standing there about center with the blue shirt on was a street beggar.
Oh boy.
They do care, they have compassion, but they don't have much capacity in Niger for a social network or like a support system for people that are in trouble like that. So that man was a street beggar. He started a factory. I'm going to call it a factory, but it's a small shop. And this is their shop there. These guys are working in. They're all polio survivors. He started this shop. They string those plastic strings to make the chair seats and backs. They also make soccer netting. And there's one other picture. This man here is also a polio survivor. That's a soccer ball that he's making. It's inside out. He's stitching it up by hand, and they will put the bladder in there and make a soccer ball. So again, that's the triumph of the human spirit. These people are polio survivors, very rough life, but they're getting up every day and going to work, and they have the opportunity there.
Okay, what do we have here?
This is a trike picture that we took over there. I think that India may have donated some of these, but you'd see a lot of these around Niamey. You'll see a hand crank there. These are for people that to get around.
They can't pedal, so they have to use their hands.
They'd use a hand pedal. Some people use hand crutches or regular crutches. You would see a significant number of polio survivors in your travels around Niamey.
So your club is making sure that 108,000 people don't end up that way?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, let's keep running the pictures as we go here. Okay, that's
our runners at the 5K.
So that was one of your fundraisers. Okay, let's keep going.
That's Adele, our chairperson, telling them, go, run.
Run.
And you'll see we had an auction in the backyards, or background there, some other fundraising. That's Pete Bills, our chair, with Ed from Parkview drawing the winner for the raffle.
Okay, okay, keep rolling. These are great pictures.
There's our lucky winner, a nice young family that won $500 as the prize for the raffle.
Easy peasy.
Our banner in the background.
Yeah.
That's just Tracy Bennett, our club treasurer, calling the lucky winner on the night of the raffle.
Okay. So it's fun. There's lots of fun involved with this, too.
Oh, you got to have some fun.
Woo, look at that.
This is Webb's Mini Golf over there when we had our Polio Plus Challenge mini golf tournament.
Okay.
Very good day.
Yeah.
Here's at the end of the mini golf tournament, 2 people were tied for low score, and so they had a sudden death playoff, and that young man made it quick. Look at that putter he's got. It looks like the Starship Enterprise on a stick, but he polished me off in one hole and won it. That's Mary Swanson's grandson.
Figures.
There's Pancake Patty Benton doing the breakfast.
Oh boy, look at Jason Delkamp.
Here's Jason Delkamp. He's the superintendent at Brockton, and Doc, you well know a superintendent's job is time-consuming and strenuous, and he gave up a Saturday morning to come over there and flip pancakes.
Oh, there's someone you know.
There's my better half, Sue Hammond, with the educational display at the breakfast.
Okay, we need to hold because we're just about out of time.
Okay.
So Jim, final thoughts on the project, and then we got to go.
Very rewarding, wonderful thing to do, and if anyone would like to donate to polio through Rotary, they could let me know, or we would have information. They could do it themselves.
Is there a phone number they can contact you at by any chance?
Absolutely. There's a slide on that one, the very last, but they could call me at 814-450-1866.
There's a little child getting polio vaccine. Jim Wakeman's been my guest today, folks. I hope you've enjoyed the show and learned a little bit about polio in the world and how it's being eradicated by the Rotaries of the world and the Gates Foundation and other groups. So have a great weekend. I'm going to be taking a little breather, and we're going to have some guest hosts here in the next couple of weeks, and I'll be in touch with you as we go along. So thanks for joining us. Thanks to the crew for all the good work they always do. Have a great weekend. Stay dry, and we'll see you next time. Take care.